Hello, welcome to the first episode of the Blue Light Night podcast. Me and my three co-stars here, Aaron, Kyle, and myself, Grant, are going to introduce ourselves.
Oh, you used our names.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you didn't want to?
Okay, no.
Look at you fucking it up again.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean,
I can edit all this in post. Guys, go around and introduce yourselves. Start.
Go ahead.
Alright, I'm Kyle. Work for a police department here in Louisiana. Gang, gang.
My name's Grant. I am also a police officer here in Louisiana.
And guess what, guys? My name's Aaron. I'm actually a sheriff deputy here in Louisiana.
Oh,
So,
sheriff deputy.
Yeah.
That means he chases cows.
Yeah.
But
You would imagine.
we are three
Call
officers here in South Louisiana, and we are also all three members of the Louisiana National Guard.
Cool.
And we're here today to talk to y'all about all kinds of interesting things. So, have y'all ever watched Donut Operator on YouTube?
I freaking love the operator.
I've seen a little bit of it.
Have you seen his newest video about it's a shooting on Bourbon Street, right at the intersection of like Bourbon and Lewis, and it's this guy, and he's like he's spazzing out, and the officers get a call that he has a gun.
Yeah.
And,
I watched the body cam footage the other night.
Did you see it?
No, I haven't seen it.
Well, basically, I'm gonna give you the rundown of it, and I'll put a link in the description of the video. Anyone watching this wants to check it out. But basically, this dude, he's on the video, and he's like just screaming and everything, like just cutting up on the street. And the officers get a call that he's been aiming a gun at people. So this woman, she comes around the corner, she pulls up on Bourbon Street. She's the first responding officer, and as soon as she pulls up, this dude runs right up to her window, probably about a foot away, pulls out a Glock, racks it, and puts it right there in the window. I mean, like, he could have got her, but it wasn't loaded, actually. And anyway, she shoots him, like three other cops that were responding on foot shot him.
It was two other ones down Bourbon Street.
And the dude goes down. And I just wanted... Will y'all get, like, suicide calls? Like, y'all get calls saying that they want you to respond to a residence because the subject is suicidal. Do y'all ever worry that you're going into a suicide by cop situation? Because that's the first thing that always pops in my head. I'm like, God, I hope
it's
this...
mine too. And speaking as the parish that I work in has one of the highest suicide rates in our area. I've gone to a couple of calls where they explicitly say that they want to kill themselves, but if we show up, they aren't going to perform suicide by cop. So it's a unnerving reality that I've faced multiple times, and I've helped other officers respond in the same manner.
Well, see, I think that would make me feel a little bit better if I knew that that's what they were planning, because that would give me some type of security in the back of my mind to think, well, they're probably not going to actually kill me then, because they're just hoping I'll kill them. Mm-hmm. But it's just like, when you get like those vague calls, like, being routed to this address, suicidal subject, I'm like, what the fuck is this fucker going through? Because you know you're about to see something crazy. And we actually responded to a call the other day, and it was exactly like this. Someone had contacted our agency, and it was a man, and he was sitting in a truck outside of a hospital, and he just called our agency and told his dispatcher that, that he was about to kill himself in the parking lot. So the dispatcher kept him on the line, and we responded to the hospital, and we got there, we located the vehicle, and we told our dispatcher over the radio, go ahead and just tell the dude, put his hands out the window. Luckily he complied, and we walked up, and sure as shit, he had a .380 revolver right there in his lap, and I just thought, man, that really could have been south. And that's just one thing, like, I don't know, that really freaks me out, is because suicide by cop seems to be a growing epidemic in the U.S. right now, and it's just, I don't ever want to be in that situation where someone kind of uses me as a tool to take himself out. You know, it's just that no cop should want to shoot people, but that's definitely just, if you had to do it, not the way I think you'd want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Most of the time when we get them in the city where I work, I hate to say it, but it's more than likely some bullshit.
Yeah.
It's not nothing serious. More than likely.
And you're pertaining to like suicide threats, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
More than likely, baby mama and baby daddy done had an argument.
Yeah.
And that's what she's threatening to do. So it's in the back of my mind whenever we get dispatched to it that possibly could happen. But I know most of the time this is what's going on.
That like baby daddy situation you were just talking about, I had a subject poison herself because she had an argument with her boyfriend, and he left the residence, and she poisoned herself. That way poison control would come to the residence, and she could call him and be like, hey, I'm about to die, please come back home. But it was all just a trick. She never actually, like, she claimed that she didn't know who poisoned her, But it was one of the dumbest calls I've ever been on because it was super obvious that she was the only one home.
Yeah.
She was literally just like, I had this drink and it was where it's sitting in one spot, and then I found it in the other room with a bottle of like iodine tablets, and I just drank it anyway. You know, it was like one of the dumbest things I ever heard. She was like, it looked suspicious. There was a sign on it with a skull and crossbone, but I went ahead and sipped that bitch.
Well,
you know?
speaking of dumb calls, there's this one residence that I always get called back for because they're arguing. Always over something stupid. It's never a big thing or anything like that. 90% of the time, I just tell them to go to bed. But I get in there, and as I'm walking up, I can hear them arguing. And I walk in. The male subject was the one that made the call, so I start talking to him first. Let him explain his side. Just as soon as he's done, I talk to her. She explains hers. I ain't gonna lie, neither of them made any sense whatsoever. So I looked at him and said, "Why did you call me?" And this dude's response, I didn't know what to say to it. I had to stop and pause for a minute and rethink my life. Because he said, she woke me up wanting spaghetti and I didn't like it. He called me because she wanted some spaghetti. And I'm like,
Is that,
why?
is that the same Jan and John Doe that I've responded to multiple times?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes, on the south side of town.
Yeah.
I had someone that just needed their glasses fixed.
Oh, that's nice.
Me and my supervisor responded because they all the dispatcher could gather was that it was some type of disturbance, and we responded, and we went in, and she mentioned briefly she had an argument with her husband, but she quit talking to us because she was like, I gotta fix these glasses. Like, I can't get my lens back in. So finally we're like, fuck it, give me the glasses. And we like, and as soon as we get these lenses popped in, she's like, okay, thank you, officers. And that was it. And he said that on the radio. He was like, headquarters, I'm not sure what's going on, but we fixed some glasses. Okay, so he can't say we didn't do anything.
And that's the other thing that I think it's a common misconception about police officers all across the U.S. is like, people, I guess, just see us and think that we're gonna. Every time we show up to the scene, we're there just to arrest somebody, or they're just to get somebody taken, some shit like that. But we really play a multi-role kind of job. You know, wherever we go to, if it's an argument, we're the automatic mediator when we walk in, even though we have damn near no information go into this call.
Yeah.
But we're supposed to be the mediator, or we're supposed to be able to talk to a sexual assault victim like we have any experience knowing what they've done, you know, what they've been through. And that's a part of the job that not a lot of people realize that, you know, it's just one of those things, I guess.
And that's a good segue into another topic. What is a common misconception about law enforcement that drives you insane? Like, just something people think. Because for me, my biggest thing is, like, because of shows like NCIS and shit like that, believing that every police officer is like a certified scientist in forensics.
Yeah.
And like, you're gonna show up to a scene and they're just like, oh yeah, we were having a party at my house and this guy I don't even know from 2 towns over punched me in the face, but he stepped on some grass on the way out, so y'all should be able to
and then they expect us to go
they expect me to take that grass and scan it with a little device and then plug that into a laptop, and a billion bunch of fucking pictures flash on the screen, and then a GPS coordinate will zoom in and show me exactly where that dude is and like every pubic hair he lost on the way home. That's what they expect out, and that is so frustrating for me. But I think the biggest thing is actually fingerprints, because people watch these shows and fingerprints this, fingerprints that. It's like a fingerprint is so hard to pick up, for one. Like, there's so many materials,
so many variables that go into
that
you
it
get a
doesn't
good fingerprint.
stick to in the first place. You have a better chance of DNA.
Yes.
DNA is a lot better because the skin, the dead skin that comes off your body.
Yep.
And us three, we all work for smaller agencies, so we know that if we send something to a forensic lab, we're not getting a response unless it's a goddamn homicide.
Yeah, you might get a response, and I'm not exaggerating, within a year to 2 years of like a burglary.
So yeah, when I contact this forensics lab, and I'm like, hey, someone stole Carol's garden gnome, but I think I got a fingerprint off of her sidewalk. And you know, are y'all gonna run that for me?
And going off of that, it's because we're in southern Louisiana, and I'm not gonna give out where we're located at, like our agencies. However, because of where we're located at in the state, you know, you have like the big cities like New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Lafayette. They all share the same crime lab or the same DNA center for their general areas. And because of the high crime rate of southern Louisiana, like Grant was talking about here, if it's not a homicide, and you're not in a big agency, you're not gonna get fingerprints back or DNA back for a good long fucking while.
Yeah, exactly. And that's frustrating being in a smaller agency. And people don't understand the differences and the abilities of a law enforcement that has those things to their disposal.
We're just people too, dude. So
yeah, for real, man. Like there's literally some agencies out there. I'm talking like small towns, like things that are classified as villages. They got people never even went to the academy.
Yeah,
you know, like it's like a dude that was flipping burgers like a week ago,
and now he's carrying a bag.
Yeah, now he's at your house and you're asking him to solve a rape. It's
so
just.
What about you, Kyle? What's a common misconception that you hate that people have about officers?
For me, it's because I like to run a lot of traffic. I don't know what it is, but I like running traffic. I like writing tickets, make sure everybody's like driving safe and stuff. But the thing is, I hate whenever I get told that I'm just trying to meet my quota or so on and so forth. That we have a quota.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Because it's not a thing. We don't have a quota. We don't get paid extra for writing these tickets or anything like that.
It's actually against a federal law for any police agency in the United States to have a quota.
That you got to remember that to a degree, though, because you have things like lace and stuff like that, where an officer can make overtime by writing tickets, and he has to write the tickets to get the overtime.
Yeah,
but if the officer doesn't get fired if he doesn't do it, he just doesn't get paid because he was supposed to come out and write tickets.
That's for an extra detail, like working that. But but a normal shift that an officer works. Yeah. There is no mandated quota he has to meet whatsoever.
I tell people all the time, you know, I've been with the agency I'm at right now for over 2 years, and I've probably written 10 tickets. I don't write tickets a lot. I spend most of my day patrolling neighborhoods.
I like writing tickets. And
see, this is, I know he does.
This is like, I think I'm on my 7th book for this 2 months.
Yeah.
So that 90% of my shift, I'm making passes in throughout my trouble areas, but in those trouble areas, I'm also getting my traffic stops in. That way I can show up presence and I'm writing them tickets.
Well, let's segue into traffic, because people, you know, everybody, when they see cops, they see the blue lights behind vehicles, they get fucking pissed because obviously they think that I'm not getting a ticket.
Yeah.
And my argument to you getting angry is that if it's something like speeding, then to me you have no right to get angry, because you know that you're in the fucking wrong. If it's like a broken like license plate light, okay, I get that, whatever, but the reason that cops do majority, like a normal police officer, not a traffic sergeant or a traffic cop.
Yeah. We're talking about a patrolman. Like
a patrolman,
regular patrolman, yeah.
Most patrolmen, like, only do traffic stops for suspicious kind of scenarios or for blatantly obvious traffic violations. Like, in the last 2 weekends, I've helped our state police arrest 9 drunk drivers off of all of my traffic stops. Because it's just what part of it, you know? So, I don't know if you guys have any comments on like people hating on us running traffic.
I don't get too much trouble running traffic. Now, I like I said, I've only written a few tickets, but I do stops every single day. Mainly just because putting the blue lights out there is a presence for the town. You know, if you're crossing through a town and you see that officers do stops there, you're more than likely to obey the traffic laws. Most of the time, if I pull people over and their insurance is good, their license is good, their registration is good, you know, they're good to the T, except for they were doing 10 over, I'll just tell them, you know, slow down for me. It's not really a big deal. You know, my job is not to create revenue for the city. My job is to tell this person, hey, what you're doing is dangerous. You know, and people have lost all sight of that. They're like, oh, cops pull you over to write tickets because tickets generate money. And I mean, yeah, it does to a degree, but that's not the entire purpose of it. You know, if the city just wanted more money from you, they just tax you. You know, they just raise their taxes. And
see, the agency that I work for, whenever Aaron used to still work with me before he moved to the sheriff's office, before we came there, the wrecks, the call rate for wrecks were outrageous.
Yeah. And by outrageous, he means in this small town, on average, probably 3 to 4 wrecks a day.
And consecutive. Since we got there, and we were the only 2, I think we got released by ourselves within a couple weeks, a month and a half, somewhere like that. Whenever we got released and we started doing our traffic, now our day shift, I work strictly nights, but our day shift now, because of that, we were on days when we first started, we'll maybe work a wreck, maybe 2. There's like, it's hardly any now, because people come through the town, they're like, okay, this town now does this, they're going to start enforcing this, so on and so forth. So that's a big reason that we do run traffic, because it does make safer driving. I don't think of the word.
This is turning into like, it feels like we're sitting there in front of a group of like law enforcement protesters, and we're like telling them like this is why you're dumb. This is why everything you say is stupid. I have this tendency to do this thing where I get on YouTube and I look up like videos of police shootings or officer involved shootings and things like that, and then I see a video of where a cop got shot, and I know I shouldn't do it because I know it's going to make me so mad, but I go down to the comments section.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I just read, like, the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's like, oh, yeah, it's like police officers are the new redcoats, and the revolution will begin with the pig slaughter. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you actually talking about? Like, who actually thinks... And you know, anyone who believes that law enforcement is like a national gang, like a national... brotherhood where they're all tied together and they're all in on the same shit, you don't know how dumb you sound, because all law enforcement agencies are on different pages. Like, they're always on different pages. Because it's actually kind of a fucking train wreck.
For people who don't understand, like not to cut you off, but don't understand how like departments work. Okay, like for Louisiana, you have your federal side that is in Louisiana. Like every state has their federal side of people, like U.S. Marshals. Then you have the state police. Then you have your parish police, which is equivalent to y'all's counties for all the other 49 states. And then you have the cities. And even within cities, you can sometimes have like city marshals who are their own fucking department. So, you know, yes, that like my parish might cover these two guys as cities, but their cities work independent of themselves.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Like I'm there for the parish and to help out the cities. However, like my sheriff and these guys as chief are not like sitting in the same office every fucking day talking with each other. No, it's rare, but we have to work together. But we're never on the same page. Like their policies and procedures are completely different than mine.
Mm-hmm. Not to mention every state has different state laws. I mean, we had an officer who came and worked with us for a while, and he had like 15 plus years up in Colorado. And in Colorado, when he had started there, marijuana was illegal. But when he finished his 15 years there, marijuana was legal. So when he came back down here south, he was like, "Oh shit, I can work dope again. You know, I can work marijuana. Like, that's not illegal." And he's like, "I forget that shit sometimes." He told me, he's like, "I'll do a traffic stop and I'll smell it, and I don't even think anything about it at first. I'm just like, oh yeah, these guys are cool." You know?
Yeah, that's the kind of going to stop by right here.
We had an officer did an exchange program. He went over to California. Same shit. He was like, "Dude, I was over there, and every time I'd smell dope, I'd like go to stop somebody." And then he was like, "Oh fuck, I can't." You know, it's legal over here. But yeah. So let me ask you guys something. Getting away from law enforcement. Are y'all familiar with what cancer? Cancer. Are y'all familiar with cancer? Have you ever heard of cancer?
Yeah.
It's a new epidemic.
It's a new epidemic.
No. Are you familiar with cancel culture? Cancel culture. Have y'all ever heard of that term? So cancel culture, it's this thing on the internet where it's like people, mainly on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, stuff like that get upset about like a celebrity or a certain person over something to do with their past. You know what I'm saying? Like Kevin Hart, for example, he gave up the Oscars a while back because he was up to do the Oscars and somebody dug into a comedy act he literally said like 10 years ago where he made fun of people that were gay. And they were like, Kevin Hart is homophobic. He shouldn't be allowed to run the Oscars. You know, that's cancer culture. They just dig into the littlest shit about you, even if it's like ancient.
You just said cancer culture again?
Did I say cancer culture?
I think you said cancer
Not
culture.
cancer culture.
I mean,
cancel culture.
It sounds cancerous.
Just to it's a cancer to the world. But so that's a thing, right? And currently, right now, I don't know if y'all have heard anything about it, but Johnny Depp, you know, Jack Sparrow from Pirates of the Caribbean,
Job dirt guy. Yep.
I've got a job.
He's facing something like that right now because his wife that he was dating, she came up with an allegation that he was abusing her.
Wait, his wife that he was dating?
I'm tired, damn it. But his wife that he was with, you know, when you're a celebrity, you just date your wife.
We're getting married, but we're not actually a thing.
But his wife that he was with, she made an allegation that he was abusing her, and she went public with it. And because of it, Disney cut him from Pirates of the Caribbean. He won't be in the next movie. They are going to
Pirates of the Caribbean,
whatever. Because of that, though, they are going to try to find another actor. They're recasting his role.
Yeah, but they're not going to. I mean,
well, but here's the thing. Now that some time has passed, it turns out she lied, and it came, to the surface. And that's another big example of this cancel culture. So my question here is for you, though, is like you were saying, no one could take Johnny Depp's role. No one would be able to go up there and take Jack Sparrow and do a performance that could back him up. But do you agree with the idea that if he did beat his wife, do you think that should affect his career? Where do you draw the lines? Really, what I'm asking.
I think especially if you're in the celebrity light, you obviously are not held to a higher standard, but you are way more scrutinized than the average person because obviously your life is literally being tracked.
Yeah.
Well, by everybody.
Just to clarify, I'm not debating that if he was beating his wife, it would have made him a piece of shit or not. What I'm saying is, should a person's personal life affect their art? Basically, here's a good example. So when me and my fiance first started dating, she was my girlfriend back then. I would listen to Michael Jackson. And one of the first things she said to me, she's like, I don't listen to him. He's a child molester. But I still like the song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So where do I draw the line? I don't want to listen to Michael Jackson because I think he's a child molester. But I want to listen to him because I like the music. He makes good music. So I'm saying, where do y'all think that should draw the line as towards, can you still appreciate the art of someone who...
I think absolutely you can appreciate what people create in a way as long as what they're creating or what they're involved with doesn't negatively affect somebody.
Yeah.
If he was dating one of his co-stars in the next kind of Pirates of the Caribbean movies and was beating her off set, yeah, dude, that's a piece of shit. Fuck him. He shouldn't have that role. But if he's goes to his house, whatever, and that's his personal life, and they do.
If he beats his wife on his personal time,
I'm not justifying that.
No, I'm not. But see, this is the salad.
It's a slippery slope.
This is the slippery slope. How can you enjoy an artist when at the same time they've got this? It's like, imagine if you fucking told me that you really enjoyed the bug, the car, the punch buggy,
the Beetle.
Yeah, whatever it's called.
I call it a bug too, so fuck you guys.
Yeah, it's called a bug, beetle, whatever. Imagine if you really liked that car, you thought it was a cool car, and then I told you, I was like, hey, Hitler designed it.
Yeah, Hitler designed that.
Is that supposed to make you go sell your car?
And then it became the national car of Germany for a hot while, even though...
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying,
That's something that boggles my mind all the time, because everyone has got dirt on all these like the Me Too movement, for example. Have you ever heard of that? The Me Too movement, So what I'm explaining to Kyle. So the Me Too movement began, and I can't even tell you who fucking started it, but basically it's a bunch of people coming forward and making rape allegations against celebrities.
Me Too, I've been...
mainly A-lister celebrities.
Yes.
Just all kinds of celebrities.
It sparked after the Cosby incident.
Yeah. And now there's so many people out there who made these accusations and literally ruined careers, but none of these allegations can be proven.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And see, that's what I was about to say with the Johnny Depp thing. So, do I think it should... If he was guilty of it, do I think it should affect his career? Yes, I do. But I don't think it should have affected his career until something was proven. That's the problem that we have, is that everybody starts stating all these facts that they think they have before anything is proven. I'm going to tell you, from being a cop, seeing is believing.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Just because you hear something or somebody said this, so on and so forth, you can't just start basing and talking shit or acting on stuff off of that. I think you need to go and get some facts before you ruin somebody's life or career, so on and so forth.
I have a side to go off of that whenever.
Marsh, I completely agree with that. Johnny Depp, if you're listening to the podcast, we'd like to invite you on so we can discuss if you beat your wife. Just get back with me in a couple of days, and we'll set you up. Just have your people call my people.
Yeah. No, but side note, going off of that, I don't know how aware of this y'all are when it comes to sexual assault allegations. Okay, not even.
I'm aware they happen.
Well, yeah, but how frequently they are.
Yeah.
And okay, so here's my thing. Obviously, just for the podcast, obviously, sexual assault, rape, all that kind of shit is. I think if you are proven guilty of that should fucking bury you under the jail. Okay, me personally, that's fucking awful. However, I don't like how in the culture that we're in right now, if a man claims he's been sexually assaulted by a woman, it is a joke.
Yeah, it's laughed at.
It's laughed at.
Yeah.
And that woman is going to face no cultural repercussions because it is looked at as it's very, very unlikely, some shit like that. Mm-hmm. However, if one female says that one guy sexually assaulted her with no evidence, no proof, doesn't matter. That guy, for the rest of his fucking life, and wherever he lives at, is going to know him as a predator or a sexual assaulter with no fucking evidence. Even if he is cleared, goes to court, and anything like that. For the rest of his fucking life.
The stigma of it will stick to him.
Yeah,
regardless.
But in the reverse scenario, like I just said, if it was the guy standing up to the girl, there is no repercussions. She is scot-free, cut done. That's it.
And see, the same thing goes for domestic situations as well.
Yes.
All right, me personally coming from domestic home, I have an insight. I personally do not. Everyone thinks, oh, it's the male, just because they feel males are stronger for some reason. Okay.
I would just like to go on the record here and say I'm a man of 21 years of age and I've yet to commit my first rape. So
you said yet.
That's a key word.
Well, I'm just saying if it's a scientific fact, I'm going strong here, baby. You know what I'm saying? I'm 21 years down. It's like a not a kill streak.
We're gonna visit that yet later. Don't worry.
We're gonna come back to that. But go ahead.
In 5 years, just be like, well, it's a dark day.
I personally do not go up to the male directly and just put him in cuffs, hey, you did this. That's the common misconception. Everyone feels that we need to go walk up to the male because that's what they believe. That's who they believe is always the aggressor. It's not the case. I've arrested the female plenty of times. I've arrested both of them plenty of times.
I've arrested both parties. That's what needs to happen sometimes.
I mean, it's frowned upon to arrest both parties most of the time. But
it is, but
it's gotta happen
sometimes that is the only way you're going to get peace, especially when you get a type of situation where you have one party that's so infatuated with the other party that they're immediately going to be at the jailhouse, immediately trying to post bail, immediately going to the DA, trying to drop charges, because these toxic relationships, they just get so strongly bound together.
And see, if I walk up and y'all both beat the shit out of each other, y'all are both coming with me.
Yeah, I have a side note to go off of this, okay? Because domestics, right? You guys obviously know, but for the podcast, the two most dangerous call-outs that we can go to are domestic situations or traffic stops.
Yeah.
Just where the most officer-involved shootings and fatalities happen are traffic stops and domestic situations, okay? For you two guys, what goes through your mind? I don't know y'all dispatchers.
Yeah.
Not yours anymore since y'all have changed.
Through my mind.
When you get the call for a domestic in progress, or even just a simple like domestic in progress or domestic in progress with weapons.
Yeah.
What goes through y'all's mind? Even if it's a regular, like I don't want to say regular as in a bad way, but you go to a regular address that this goes on at, and you've arrested the parties before. Even then, when you hear that domestic, the code for your police department come out of the radio and you're en route, what goes through your mind? Does your heart race, or like what's your thought process?
What do you want to say first, Scott?
Well, whenever that comes over, I get there fast. That's my whole thing. If it's in progress, I'm getting there quick. And my whole thing is that I feel like I'm going to walk in and I'm going to see these two going at it, or I'm going to see her on top of him or him on top of her, and then something's going to be bad. Somebody's going to have to go to the hospital. That's my main fear. I hate.
Yeah, you noticed that too?
Yeah.
It seemed like something just moved behind your curtain. What was that?
Probably a rat.
But that's my worst fear is that I'm going to see somebody with a weapon or something like that, and they've hurt the other one badly, and they're not going to want to drop that weapon, and I'm going to have to do what I got to do.
Yeah.
I hate having to draw my gun with a passion. My first week when I was still in FTO, I had to draw my gun 4 times because of people running from me with weapons.
In the town I work, I don't think a day goes by that I don't draw.
Yeah.
It's like
I hate it, but that's my worst fear is having to act on that whenever I get there. And also, my town, we run 1 officer per shift at the moment because we're shorthanded. Aaron here, He's the sheriff's office that my city is in. So 90% of the time, he's my backup. But if he's on a call, I have none. I'm it.
And the thing is just going off what we said about, because I work for the sheriff's department, I cover the whole parish. I'm his primary backup when it comes to a call, and God forbid, it's something going down, like it's a bad scene for him, like he's actually in distress, and I could be at most 45 minutes away. And that's running code 3 lights and sirens at 100 miles an hour because of how big the parish that I cover is.
Hey, I wanted to ask you this. So, you were a city cop before you were a deputy. How did you feel the first time you had to run code down roads you'd never been on before? Because I know deputies deal with that. They get a call one day to an area they don't go, and it's not like in the city where it's just one street you haven't been on a lot. I mean, it's like miles of road. So it could be a sharp turn coming right up on you, especially if you're running at night and you don't know. That fucker's there.
My first call, when I worked night shift for the sheriff's department, because I primarily work nights, I'm on straight nights now. My first call that I had to run code to was domestic in progress at the southernmost city in our parish. And I was working the north zone, but the two guys were tied up and other stuff. So I ran code. Oh, that's my dog's tail. So I ran code going 110 miles an hour, lights and sirens, for 30 minutes. From the north end of my parish to the south of my parish, trying to get there in time. Thank God nothing serious was going on. It was mainly a verbal altercation. But, like you were saying, I went down a bunch of dirt roads, back roads, because, like I said, we're in southern Louisiana, and none of where we work at is like a big place. So,
yeah, we
don't have a lot of funding around here. Like in the parish, it's majority dirt roads. We're running the old Crown Vics. So,
and in my city, half of your roads, it's just one big pothole. That's what I want to consider it as.
Yeah,
most definitely.
But going back to the domestic thing, you never commented on
like what goes through my mind.
Yeah. Does your heart? Well, even though you've been doing this for 2 years, your heart still race.
Like Kyle was talking, when you go, you get kind of that little sense of, is this going to be the call where it happens? Is this going to be where, I'm going to have to, go as far as I'm allowed to? Am I going to have to pull my gun? Am I going to have to take a life?
Yeah.
I think when I first started, I actually was less scared, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like when I first started and they told me to go to a house because someone was fighting in it, I just thought, oh, no shit, whatever, I'm going. Because I did not know how those situations could end, I didn't fully grasp what all could happen.
They say hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah, and now with 2 years of experience, and I've responded to some nastier scenes, I've seen some more gruesome stuff, I'm more cautious about it.
Yeah.
I think, but I was part of an SRT team for a little while, and before it got disbanded because our city lost all of its people. But I was part of an SRT team, and we were doing high stakes crimes only. We were working barricaded subjects, felony arrest warrants for murder, and high class drug busts, And we would meet up for our little meetings, and we'd get all our gear and everything, and we'd draw out a layout of the house before we bust in. And on my way there, when we were driving, I would always say a little prayer. I think I do that before any dangerous call. I sit there and I just say a little prayer, please let me get through this, okay? That's the first thing that's on my mind. And after that, it's go time. When I'm headed there, I'm thinking tactically. I'm thinking the neighborhood. I hear other officers responding. I think, where are they gonna go? Where can I go? I try to keep my mind in a tactical mindset and just be on my game to the point where I'm not going to get psyched out worrying about the worst case scenario. Because the bottom line is we accepted that every single day, and not since the 1940s has a year gone by where less than 100 cops died.
Yeah.
It's just I try not to think about that aspect. I guess is probably the best thing. I just think about what needs to get done. And
what that question was for was because I don't know if y'all's departments have. I know your department has one. I don't know about your department that much. If you'll have that officer who's such a veteran officer, he's been doing this for so damn long, he's so complacent.
Yeah.
To where he'll hear a call for domestic weapons, and he'll go into it like so nonchalantly. And I'm not saying that whenever we respond to domestics that we have to be this heightened up, adrenaline pumping kind of fucking action pump kind of guy.
Get the ballistic vest, boys. We're going in.
But also, the terminology complacency kills, because sure, this veteran officer that you're working with may have worked 15, 20 years in the town that you're working in. However, he may have dealt with domestics too, but this, you never know.
It's a case-by-case scenario.
It's every situation is different.
Well, what you got to remember a lot, and I'm not trying to dog on any older cop. They got great older cops out there.
Oh, absolutely.
But they do have some officers who went through the academy in the 80s, and the 80s was a less tactical time for police.
Yes.
They didn't clear houses the same way. They didn't shoot the same way. I mean, fuck, they were trained to carry revolvers. It's different.
They didn't have a lot of the same case laws we have.
Yeah, exactly. And some of these older officers still go by that teaching. They still go by that older, out-of-date approach to things. And, that's just, out of us in here, the three of us together, we really only have,
I'd say about 6 years.
9 years of law enforcement combined.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, 3 years each, about 9 years of law enforcement combined. And in a career like law enforcement, where even though I know we work at smaller agencies, so we get shit dumped on us more, I'm talking about an overall look at law enforcement. Most people won't consider you a seasoned, good, knowing what the fuck he's doing officer until you've worked like 5.
Yeah.
Especially if you go to a big city. 2 years, man, you're a rookie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't know what the fuck you're talking about yet. But when you have situations like us where we work these smaller agencies, sometimes damn near by ourselves, that's more experience tackled on. So it's hard to say that the right way, because law enforcement is always changing. The post is always changing.
Law enforcement is an ever-changing animal.
A person that's been working 15 years in law enforcement might learn something new tomorrow because, for example, we were on our way out here today, and I was talking to him about how they just changed the laws for the lights on the bottoms of trucks.
Yep.
Did you know that the fender wells can have lights now?
I did not know that.
Yeah, they can have colored lights too. Like it can be
really,
red,
underglows,
blue, green. Yeah, they got some
now,
guys that come through our area.
On that, is that just the rock lights and the fenders? Or is that also the underglow that go on the undercarriage as well?
Just the fenders.
Just the fender?
Right
okay, because I was about to say, I know it can't be emitting from the front.
Yeah, no, it can't. And, I mean, don't make me lie to you. I don't have the statue in my face, but
and that's something else that going back to the common misconception thing with officers is people don't realize how many laws there are.
Mm-hmm. And people don't know the law. That is so frustrating to me and I know I used to be someone that didn't know any laws either. So I understand how you but really that's just such a fail on the education system.
It is.
To not even, you don't have to teach a law degree, but you could at least sit down and explain to someone what Miranda rights are. What being detained is.
Detainment, arresting, probable cause, reason suspicion.
Back to the pet peeves thing earlier. Another big pet peeve of mine is whenever I'm sitting there telling them what has to happen for this, because I don't know everything, but I will look into it, and before I leave that call, I will let them know the correct thing. And they want to sit there and tell me it's not correct and that they know the law.
Oh, yeah.
That is my biggest pet peeve.
And street lawyers.
Is the term, I know the law.
Yes. And it's insane to argue with people like that whenever you have the literal, for our state. So LA.gov has all of our statutes, our criminal, everything, our criminal and then traffic statutes. We could literally pull it up on our phone, read out, for domestic abuse battery, 1435.3.
Yeah.
We can read that to somebody, the exact procedures that we have to go through, and it will still not believe us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, under our state law, if we can determine in a domestic situation the primary aggressor, we shall. It's not we may.
Yeah.
It's not if you want to. It is we shall make arrests.
But it doesn't matter. The thing you got to realize, and I learned this really early going on, is sometimes when you're dealing with these people and you explain to them their violation, or you explain to them what's fucked up about the scenario, they're in denial. You know what I'm saying? You can tell.
Automatic.
Here in the state of Louisiana, we're a stop and ID state. If a police officer comes up to you in a lawful capacity, he has the right to ask you for your ID, and if you don't have a physical state ID on you, you have to give him your name, date of birth, and physical address. And if you don't do that, right then and there, he can arrest you. It doesn't matter if you think
As
this
long
cop
as,
is,
as long as he has reasonable
Yeah.
reasonable suspicion for that stop.
and that doesn't mean start screaming at him, what crime did I commit? What crime did I commit? You know, it just, if the officer came up to you, if he's a smart officer, he should tell you why he's stopping you
Yeah.
anyways. And I'm sorry, that's a real trigger for me when I watch some videos, because I'll admit, some cops are just dicks.
Yes.
When I do a traffic stop, I'm going to have the common decency to tell someone why I pulled them over. But some
Absolutely.
officers will just pull someone over, be like, give me your driver's license.
Yeah.
And then they're like, why? Like, hey, give me your driver's license. Like, you didn't tell me. I don't got to tell you a goddamn thing. Give me your driver's license. Like, I hate that shit.
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
Like, treat
'Cause,
them
like-
a person.
I
you
gotta
know?
get, that's another thing with pet peeves goes. Like, people think that all cops are dicks. Like, no, we're people too. We understand, like, situations people are going through. But it's those few dickhead cops that even other cops hate. Because you
yeah.
make us look like we're all assholes.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you walk up to a vehicle and then the person who got pulled over is compliant and polite, there is no fucking reason for that officer to be an asshole.
Yeah. I think I learned very early on a phrase I liked. It's be as nice as they'll let you be. You know,
Yes.
if you can walk up and talk to a person reasonably and get the information and have a conversation with them, that's fine. Now, if you walk up and they want to get crazy with you, I mean, up your ante. It's given, you know.
Yeah.
But you don't. And I think, honestly, I think officers that have done it for a long time don't realize that they're on that level all the time. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? They're so used to just being like that's how they talk to people. You know. But we're gonna have your ice clattering in that glass like all throughout the podcast.
You're right.
It's all good though. But
But-
anyways, we're getting close. If y'all want to wrap it up with any final comments or statements or anything.
Yes, final statement. Back to the traffic stop. If you're in that vehicle in the state of Louisiana, yes, I can ask for your ID. I hate that with a passion. When somebody says, I wasn't the one driving, you don't, there's no need for you to have my ID.
you're
No,
subject.
if you're in that vehicle, I'm getting your ID. If I don't get your ID, name, date of birth, address, all that stuff, you're getting in the back of my unit.
And if you don't give your IDs to cops, Kyle will find you.
I
And he will be in your closet when you get home.
It just
for
drives me
people-
crazy.
For people who don't think, or for that other fact that they hate like traffic stops and stuff on like normal people, I just want to throw in that little note that that Ted Bundy, I want to say John Wayne Gacy, and 2 or 3 other of the America's most predominant serial killers. What was that? What was the white kid who did the church massacre?
Yeah,
I can't think of his name right now.
I don't know.
All of them were off of simple traffic stops.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
broken tail light, he was speeding, all that kind of shit.
Oh yeah, no.
And these people
traffic stops.
had killed multiple people.
Well, I mean, mine wasn't that serious, but just, what, 2.5 weeks ago, we had a major bust off of a traffic stop, and it was purely off of he crossed over the center line while driving. Like, he swerved over the center line and swerved back in his lane. Major bust off of it. Even got some firearms off the street. So it's just simple stuff that y'all are getting mad over that we're pulling over for. This is why we're doing it, because the more we do this, the safer we can make it by getting this stuff off the street.
And he says y'all to the audience, but he didn't mean like.
I'm not calling anybody
you
out.
specifically listening. Yeah, I know you.
I'm not calling anybody out. It's just I can't speak English, so
Yeah, it's just how we talk. So I
But,
don't want anybody to get offended.
Okay. Well, thank you for listening to
I
the
personally don't
first.
care if you get offended.
Thank you for listening for the first episode of the Blue Light Night podcast. Please leave a comment. Let us know if there's any topics or any questions about law enforcement you would like for us to talk about in the future. We're going to try to get one of these episodes out every couple of weeks. All 3 of us are pretty busy people that live a decent way apart, so getting together and
Yeah,
recording
we're
is-
trying to line everything
Yeah.
up so we can do
But,
it more frequently.
yeah, that's about it. So thanks for listening, and have a nice night.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Deuces, gang gang.